Hello guys, in this video I want to share you my tier list for classes for Spellbreak. So let's begin. We'll begin with Frostborn class. So this class, its strengths are does high damage from long range, but close range it's kind of bad. Like it's really hard to hit your shots because it has a charging up ability where you charge up your bow. It's like a bow, and the more you charge it, basically the more zoomed in you get and the more damage you do with a hit. But that's its downfall as well, because in close range you can't really do that. And its abilities, level 1, when you have an ice trail that you can run fast on it, is good, right? But the second one, you can hover in mid-air while aiming. It's good in the late game circles where you can just go up with a flight rune and just stay in the air, but otherwise it's kind of bad because if you're fighting someone and you get in the air, you're gonna be a target. So, yeah. Um, the third level 3 ability is you're immune to damage while casting Flash Freeze, which is the Q ability. Um, Also, you cleanse yourself from Ignite, Corrosion, and Slows, and your flash freeze duration is plus 100%. And level 4 is that you can overcharge your lance for 0.5 seconds for 35% spell damage. Well, these all sound good, but in practicality, they're not that useful. Like, if you can't overcharge in the last circles trying to shoot someone who's moving very fast. So overall, this class, even though I do think it's a good class because you can get cleansed from Ignite, Corrosion, and Slows with your Q. But the thing is, there's already a perk for that. That I think is called a perk, yeah, where you can enable a perk that you're already immune to all those things. So, in my opinion, this class is not that good. It could be useful for rotations and stuff like that, but I will give it probably a C. So now let's get to the next class, which is going to be Conduit. So this class has strengths that it has runic efficiency and it's very fast. So your normal ability is that you shoot bolts, and the more bolts you hit, the more damage you do. And you can do it up to a max of 5 damage. And that's the level 1 skill. Now level 2, your lightning strike gets +1 rune charge. So your lightning strike is your Q ability. So yeah, which when it hits someone, it makes them shocked, so they can't do anything during that time. So level 3, you get a non-cast lightning strike, minus 100% mana cost on spells for 4 seconds, which is not bad. And the lightning strike level 4, 4 strikes and at 0.6 intervals. 0.6 seconds intervals. So this class, in my opinion, is better than ice, just because you get that 4 lightning strikes, which you can use in the last circles to deal more damage or make sure that people don't peek out of certain corners and stuff. And overall, the bonus damage on hitting your shots with a lightning bolt is really good addition to that. So I'll think this class is probably I would say a B. It is good, but there are better ones. So now, let's get to Pyromancer. So, Pyromancer is not that hard to do, and it's quite well balanced. So you have your Fireball, which I want to note, you can shoot it really far. So if you shoot a lightning bolt, it has a distance limit, same with the Frost Lance and all other classes, but with Fireball, you can actually shoot your Fireball really long range. Yes, it's advantage, but if you don't hit your Fireball and it travels across half the map, people can track you down. But yeah, so if you hit someone with a Fireball at level 1, you ignite them for 2 seconds with just damage, and your Fireball has a 200% explosion radius, which is really good for level 1. Now, level 2, so if you have your flame wall, which is your Q ability, you're immune to it. So yeah, and you get flying for 2 seconds, which is good early, mid, and late game, which is all really good. Level 3 of flame wall does plus 100% damage for 2 seconds when it spawns, I assume. So that's good. And level 4, when your fireball hits, it does 4 smaller fireballs and uh, 90-degree angle. Sorry, my bad. And each deals 5 to 10 damage based on proximity to center of the explosion. So basically, if you have a whole team there, you will do more damage, which is good for late game circles. So, in my opinion, this class is actually decent. And the good thing about it is that when you put your flame ball, you can fly up. And I do want to know that this class, the fireball one, Pyromancer, has good combos with, I think, toxicologist. So yeah, that's also good about it. I won't really talk a lot about combos, but we're gonna be generally assessing the classes. So in my opinion, I do think it's an A, because just because you have those fireballs, and if you hit the fireball, you actually do like 25 damage, which is pretty crazy. So now let's get to Toxicologist. So Toxicologist is, in terms of difficulty, not too hard, and you do a lot of damage over time and stealth, and you have stealth, I mean, and that gives slows. So your ability that you start with is Toxic Spray. I think that's how it's called, I think. So basically, you throw out a line of toxic stuff, and you make a puddle of it, and you leave those puddles for 15 seconds if they're not interrupted or broken by fireballs and stuff. And those puddles deal 12 damage, DPS, and slow by 50% those who are in them. So why is this important? Is because you can spam your puddles all over the place, and people will get stuck in them, and they will receive a lot of damage. And the good thing about it is that even if someone is levitating, right, and they're avoiding your puddles, they're losing their mana. But if they're in your puddles, they're losing their HP. So you're winning both ways. Your level 2 is basically you're getting immune to your toxic clouds, which is your Q ability. And upon entering your squads or your toxic clouds, you dash in the direction you're getting into it, and you get invisible for 3 seconds. Now that's pretty cool, because if you need to escape, you can use that as an ability. And level 3, while you're invisible, your toxic spray damage does plus 75%. That's kind of good, I think, but level 4 is what amazes me, is that your toxic clouds spawn 2 extra clouds, which means you have some outplay potential in late game with your invisibility, casting it triple times with 3 dashes, and you can do lots of damage, especially if you have a Pyromancer guy on your team. He can break those clouds and make a lot of damage. So in my opinion, Toxicologist is up there with Pyromancer, so I'm just gonna put him there. Now, the next class is gonna be Stone Shaper. So, Stone Shaper is quite easy, and its strengths are that it gives you armor, and you also do quite a lot of damage. So its level 1 ability is that you have max armor plus 20 for every chest piece or whatever you have extra armor. And if you cast your Shockwave, which is your ability, and you're under 20 armor and you hit it, I think, no, just on casting, you gain plus 5 armor, which is pretty damn good. You can get armor constantly when in fighting. And your Shockwave does 40 damage per hit, which is insanely good, and it's quite easy to hit. The only downside to it is that if people are on an uneven ground, or there's a ditch between you, then you can't really hit them, but more or less it's pretty strong. On cast of Shockwave, you crash to the ground. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but it is what it is. Now your Boulder Fall, which is your Q ability, it grows as it flies in level 3, and I assume it does more damage. So yeah, it's just a good damage dealing ability. And you get a level 4 max Boulder Fall chargers plus 1, which is quite good. So overall, this class, I think, is one of the easiest and best, especially when you have teammates that are using it. You can deal 80 damage really fast. So I'll give this an S, because I think it's really strong currently at the moment. Now, let's get to the last class, which is going to be Tempest. So Tempest, basically you throw out a lot of like shurikens, and you have a tornado. So I think you have a lot of mobility and you can dish out a lot of damage. So your level 1 is that if you do a wind shear ground hit, you can do a wind jump. I think that's what it's called, and wind jump increases the amount of recharge delay to 1.25 seconds. So level 2, you're immune to tornadoes pull, which it can be your squats. It means tornadoes pull. So when you get into your tornado, you get launched into the air. Now, what does that do is that on level 3, while you're in air for 1 second, you get plus 20% spell damage and incoming damage reduction by 10%. And level 4 is that in air, you get sorcery cooldown speed by 100%. So this class is all about doing a combo with your tornado. And also, I forgot to mention that your tornadoes pull enemies in, and so do the enemy ones. So this class is all about mobility and doing damage. I do think it's quite a hard class to get it right. You need to have some skill. You need to position yourself right and use your abilities right. And I do think it lacks a bit in the department of damage just because you have so much mobility. So I do think this class is in B tier. So yeah, that's all I think about it. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Leave your opinions as well in the description. Sorry, not in the description. I mean in the comments. I'm tired, sorry. So yeah, that's gonna be my view of it. And yeah, I just realized I forgot presentation mode. Well, yikers. Anyway though, I hope you enjoyed the video, and that's going to be it.